Good day. Welcome to another episode of Masonic Curators. I'm Keith McKinnon, and today I am joined here with
Doug Ellis.
And Doug is a past master of Corinthian Lodge that meets here, and also a past district deputy grand master of, I forget what district this is out here.
14th District.
14th Masonic District.
And a past master of Oxford Lodge.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Doug is not only the lodge historian, but also the building historian. If you go back some of our episodes, Doug did some excellent talks on the Paul Revere Jews, the Paul Revere Charter. And what I find most interesting is the history of this building, which dates back to, 1820?
1820? Yep. Very
Now, I have to ask, this portion of the building, is this original?
This is not. This was built in 1921.
1921.
Yep.
If you get a chance to come here, please do. Also, Doug and I talked briefly. Anthony McCool from Coolest Life was here just prior to our visit in October of 2021 when we taped. And he did a walk around the lodge room and the outer hallways. They have a great museum room. It's upstairs. The lodge room here is phenomenal. You really got to see this in person. It's a really old lodge. I love the bricks that are out in the brick walkway with all the different names in it. And then you just put the new...
For $75, you too can have your name on the...
See, there you go. You can have a brick with your name on it on their sidewalk.
Absolutely.
And then you just put in a new granite bench on the front.
We did. Yep.
Which looks wonderful.
Yep. That should be there for generations to come.
Question, anybody use it yet?
Yeah. I mean, I use it. I go sit out there and... It's strategically located right like in front of the flagpole and the sidewalk, so people can see Corinthian Lodge, started by Paul Revere. They just get a little bit more context of what they're looking at.
But that's not really what we're talking about today. I wanted to talk about the last time we were here, and I sort of forgot about it. And I'm going to turn the chair up, and I know Randy's going to get a little pissed off at me because we're moving. It's going up his camera thing. But I want to talk about the East.
Yeah.
Because, number one, your stairs are not your common Masonic stairs.
No, they're not.
Because they're not either square, nor are they round. They're on angles.
Yep.
And in a lot of lodges, they have 1, 2, 3. In some of your older country lodges, your rural lodges, they're actually on the floor. The master normally would be on one pedestal up. He's usually off the floor. It's very rarely that you see steps like this. I know in Cambridge we have 3, 5, and 7. It's like it takes a half an hour to climb the master stairs in Cambridge. You have 5 here.
Yeah.
But it's the East that I want to talk about, because this is just, I know the building, I like the building, I like the history of the building, but this just, for some reason, fascinates me, this East. And we're going to talk about the painting, but the emblems, you told me, do light up.
They do.
The square and compass, as you can see right now, is lit up. Now, is that reverse painting on glass?
Yeah.
Okay. And the
and
emblem?
that comes out so you can put in any body. So York writes here, it comes out and the other slides in.
Oh, nice. And the letter G also lights up, and that's also reverse on glass?
Yeah.
Do you know? Okay.
I believe so.
There's also, and hopefully I did take a picture, and maybe it'll come out, and maybe Rainey can zoom in real quick. The silver plaque that is over here on our right is actually, I've never seen one. I've seen prints, paintings. I've seen, the 3D statues.
Yeah.
I've never seen one done in a metal plaque before of the Virgin Weeping.
I've never seen anything like that anywhere else.
It weighs like 50 pounds.
It's heavy. Yeah.
It's heavy as anything. But the main thing is today is the painting. Now, I've been in a lot of Masonic lodges in the state. I have seen, not paintings like this, but I have seen various paintings. We were just in Norwood, Massachusetts. They have paintings in the East and in the West.
Yep.
the old Methuen Masonic Temple with John Hancock, they actually had a hand-painted canvas that used to hang in the east with the light behind it.
Oh, nice.
I think Lowell has them around the circumference of the top of the room. Paintings.
There's the clouds
Okay.
up in the ceilings. It's such a big room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know there's some other buildings that do have something similar to this, and of course, this reminds me very much of the tavern in Sturbridge Village. That used to be
Yep, the townhouse.
the townhouse that came from Charlton, Massachusetts. That was actually the home of Fayette Lodge.
Yep.
And people thought, as the story goes, that the trees on the walls were just pine trees. There was a New England scene.
Right.
Come to find out, no.
No.
They're the tall cedars of Lebanon, because
Exactly.
that was a Masonic lodge at one time.
Yep.
And it was nice that they preserved that to this day.
Yeah.
But this is, and you can't see the building because the chair's in the way, but I did take a picture. But what is this?
So it's the Forest of Lebanon. And it was painted in 1928 by, I believe, Alexander Pope, but it is signed in the bottom by Pope and Sons 1928, and it's dated. And kind of interestingly, 2016, his son, John Pope, who was in his 80s and wasn't even born at the time that this was painted, he had heard about it, but had never seen it. So they were here for Thanksgiving, and they brought their family down, and they got to see it, and they all took their picture up here. Now, Mr. Pope was a Mason. He was not a Mason at Corinthian.
Okay.
So possibly Charles A. Welch Lodge. He lived in West Concord. He also he did a lot of work at the prison. He was a painter, he was a carpenter, and his work was seen all over the place. So it was kind of interesting, though, that here it is, and it's preserved exactly as it was. We do not touch it. I'm told it's not a very accurate description of the Forest of Lebanon, but you know what? That's not even important.
It's when you walk into the room,
Yeah.
and this is lit, and guys, there's what, green, blues,
Oh,
and red is.
If you were to look at the back of it, there are 3 color bulbs. You've got the clear bulbs, you've got red bulbs, and you've got blue bulbs. And there are big variacs. Variac is the big resistance dials, and that was actually another West Concord company, by the way, which we have. This just our electronics, our antiques around here. And I don't know how many. There's 100 bulbs back there. There's the little ones, and you crank them up, and you could do red and blue and white. I've since replaced them with LEDs, so I can change it all from my phone. But they're still there. They're still there.
So, is the ones that I've seen, I think there's one that's actually painted on the walls, but the other ones are all canvas or top material. Is this on the wall, or is this on the canvas?
It is right on the wall.
So God forbid you ever move.
Oh, forget it. It stays. Oh, we're not moving.
Wow.
We've been in this room since 1820, or this building since 1820, except for a 10-year period from 1872 to 1882. That's it.
Now, also in a lot of buildings, especially as Rob had mentioned in the earlier video that we talked about at 100th, that a lot of these lodges don't have the history like we do here in Massachusetts. And a lot of them are very plain, especially when you get out to the rural section. Very, very plain. But I've seen some beautiful rural lodges with tree trunks and sticks and twigs, and it's just phenomenal what they can do. The Easto, and I'm going to call this, it's a canopy of sort. Because a lot of the early Masonic lodges did have canopies. It is sort of a canopy at sort with the columns and the pilasters. Is that original to the date of the building, or was this added later?
No, this would have been added in 1921 when they built this addition.
This addition, that was part of the...
Correct. Yeah, coming out of World War I, they had Freemasonry was just booming. Everybody came out. They missed that camaraderie they had in the service, and they just flocked to the lodge. The other part of the building was getting older. It's getting It was already 100 years old. It was getting tighter, and they just didn't have the room. So they formed the Concord Masonic Corporation, which still lives today. It's the building association that owns the building. They raised money through stock shares. So they sold stock to raise funds. All the stock has since been repurchased and returned to the corporation. So the corporation now owns it outright. And they constructed this.
Now, so this was done in 1920s.
Yep.
100 years later, after you guys originally moved into the building. Where was the lodge room originally? Where the museum is?
No, well, originally the lodge in 1797.
The room that you guys...
Oh, it was upstairs at the library or at the museum.
The museum. Oh,
Yeah,
that is a small room.
that is a small room. That's
Wow.
where they met, and they
What
would
was
have.
here then? Just land?
This was just land. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I mean, originally, when it was just a schoolhouse, the building was 42 feet up on the road, and the building was moved.
Wow. So it is amazing, folks, when you do come here. It's like you said, you can look at Tony's video. He talks about the columns and how they're actually built into the wall.
Yeah.
When you come in here, I mean, the ceiling is phenomenal.
Yeah,
It is a slight canopy.
it is.
Canopy. You get the flashing lights for the stars in the ceiling. But when you come in here, you still have that sense of old ship
Yes.
that you had from the front of the building.
Yes.
I wouldn't believe that this was done in the 1920s.
Yeah.
I would not believe, especially seeing the east here and how you have the columns and the west here. It's just, and the doors, it just,
Yeah, I'm in awe at how they maintain that just feel of what it was.
that's what it is. It's the wooden floor, and you also got to see the. I think we talked about it
The
before.
wooden floor was only. This is less than 20 years old.
Yes, I think
And it was blue carpeting,
okay.
which was horrible.
But you did an excellent job,
Yeah.
and the painting on the floor is wonderful too as well.
Yeah.
So you got to take a look at that.
Yes.
We'll try to get a picture of that too to put on the video when we post it. I know it's been a year. It's been a year and a half.
Yeah.
No, it's been longer than that. We were here in October of 2021.
Whew.
So it's been almost 2 years now, sort of. What else can you tell me that you may remember that you didn't tell me the last time about the building? I know you told me about Thoreau,
Oh my God,
which I think is oh, that's the story I wanted to tell you about. I don't know if I told you about that.
Okay.
We had a gentleman in Cambridge named Ezra Ripley.
Yep.
Now, Ezra Ripley, of course, lived here in
I
Concord,
know Ezra well.
and he was the chaplain here.
Do you know what the name
His
of my dog
grand-
is? My dog's name is Ripley.
Really? Well, his grandson,
Yep.
Ezra Ripley,
Mhm.
came to Cambridge. And he was one of the guys who helped form what was called Putnam Lodge in East Cambridge. During the Civil War, he was made a lieutenant. I forget what company it was now, but made a lieutenant. He died on a hospital ship outside of Vicksburg.
Okay.
But I got interested in Ezra Ripley because Cambridge, and also come to find out Ezra Ripley here, his land, he actually, I believe, owned the Concord Bridge because it's right next door to his house. You walk right past his house.
He did. There wasn't a bridge there at the time.
He owned the land where that battle took place, basically, I
Yes, he
believe,
Yes, he
which is kind of fascinating.
Yep.
But as I was doing some work on Ezra Ripley himself from Cambridge, Ezra had a sister, and his grandfather still lived here in Concord, and I believe his parents did too. So he would come back to Concord. So he knew Thoreau. He knew.
Of course he did. Yeah.
Oh my God, I forgot the other one.
Ralph Waldo Emerson,
Thank you. He knew Emerson.
Nathaniel Hawthorne.
And as the story goes, that those two were sort of like a brother to Ezra. That's how close they were. And as the story goes, I guess his sister was quite beautiful. And as the story goes, wherever I read this, she was the only one to get Thoreau and Emerson into the kitchen to do kitchen duty because of her looks, I guess.
Interesting. That's very interesting. So Ezra is one of my favorite characters in Concord. I mean, he succeeded William Emerson as the pastor of First Parish, which you probably knew. Emerson went off to be a chaplain in the Revolutionary War and died in Vermont. Another interesting fact, there's a big tomb for Emerson at the top of the hill over here in the old burying grounds. Emerson's not in it. He's buried in Vermont. And ironically, Ezra Ripley just has a little stone on the side of the wall in the cemetery that you really have to go look for.
Wow.
Emerson was pastor here for about 10 years, maybe a little more than that. But it was a real rabble-rouser, and he got a lot of the publicity. But Ripley came in, and it was just a very slight man, not very big at all, and they didn't think that he was going to live long enough. That was one of the reasons they weren't going to actually hire him. But he came in, he took over First Parish as the pastor. He married Emerson's wife, Phoebe Bliss, and which if you get into the Bliss family, that's a long line of loyalists. So then you get into some other really interesting connections too, with just a lot of things. They're really deep in the list. But he went on to be pastor of First Parish for 63 years.
Wow.
He gave his last sermon on his 90th birthday.
But that's, again, you and I,
loved Freemasonry.
We talked about how the story, and this is
it's the stories,
how the stories all connect. And you talked to me a little bit about this lodge and the lodge of Oxford, and the connection and the stories there with Pratt. There are a lot, and especially if you get out to the rural sections of which this was at one time in Massachusetts. This was very rural. As you get further out, how they all intermarried and this and that.
Well, actually, this would have been one of the hopping towns. They were talking about moving the county seat to Concord at one time, because it was bigger than Cambridge. It was bigger than everything else. And then Lowell sprung up in the 1820s, and Cambridge, just got huge, and Concord just they didn't want to come out here because we had the mill dam, and the mill dam was smelly, and the cows, and so it lost a little bit of favor.
But again, I can't thank you enough for allowing us to come back in here today. We wanted to come back here today to do our 100th, because this is where we started from.
Yes.
In that episode number 53, and now it was 153. So on behalf of Masonic Curators, I can't thank you enough for your hospitality. You still have we haven't even touched the museum yet.
Oh, I know.
And there's so much stuff
there
up there.
And there's so much to still learn. There's things up there that you find out a little piece here and there. I've done some stories that I've put on YouTube, like Sidney Rice, a Civil War story, which brings the North and the South together, and communication across enemy lines. It's an amazing story.
So unfortunately, we'd have to have Randy hump all the stuff up the flight of stairs.
Yeah.
But I think if we were able to come back, and we do want to come back to Concord, I think that would be the next room that we would want to do, because the Chinese import China, which I think is fascinating.
Yeah.
How it came to be. That in a story is how import China from China with Masonic emblems came to America.
Yes.
And whatnot, and some of the other artifacts that you have up there. It's definitely a room that we would want to tape in next time.
Yeah.
So would you have us back again and host us?
Of course.
Great.
Of course.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, again,
hopefully in less than a year and a half. And I also encourage Masonic Curators to start an affinity group with Grand Lodge, and that's open to brothers, more just brothers, but people throughout the community who want to be part of it, so they can learn about all the things that we've got, and people with common interests to come together, because I know there's a lot of people out there who are just fascinated with these things.
Oh yes, and the history, that not only the things, but the people, which is the real history, is how that is intertwined with the towns and the cities.
It's not about the stuff. the stuff is the little window that we get into their lives.
Yes. So, but on that note, again, thank you very, very much. If you like this episode, please give us a thumbs up. Again, as I mentioned at our 100th and others, the main thing is, folks, if pass the word. This is just absolutely gorgeous. So if you want to pass this off onto your lodge's site, please do so. This is a magnificent painting. And I wish more lodges had these. I mean, this is just, it's gorgeous. My favorite part of this whole, I hate to say it, favorite part of the whole building is that painting.
You gotta have a favorite, yeah. No, there's so many things that make this place special.
Yes.
Yeah.
So again, thank you.
Very welcome.
And that's it.